A trek through the wilderness, wildlife filmmaker Andreas Kieling heads into the sun. Along the world's most beautiful coastline, in search of new adventures. This is the South Africa expedition. A land, a journey, and a challenge. And some hairy moments.
Oh, yeah!
Andreas dives into the world of sharks and hippos. In the Drakensberg Mountains, the highest in South Africa, he feels almost at home. He becomes a midwife on a crocodile farm and then visits the birthplace of the sea turtle. After stopping off at the diver's paradise of Umkomaas, Andreas heads inland to explore the Drakensberg Mountains, then back to the coast and the nature idylls of Umlalazi and St. Lucia. The wild coast with its green hills and imposing rocky reefs belong to primordial South Africa. Andreas has arranged to meet shark expert Dietmar Posch. Dietmar, an Austrian, has been living here for 6 years. Almost every day, he and his crew head out to sea to study sharks in their natural habitat. For this purpose, the area off Durban's coast is ideal, swarming with all kinds of sharks. The sheer number of sharks here is impressive. I've counted at least 30. It's like a shark pool. I've never seen such a concentration of sharks in one spot. So what would happen if I put my hand in the water? They'd show some interest in your camera for one simple reason. Or would they take a bite? They might have a little nibble, but not really bite. I've still got my hand, camera's running. Let's see what happens to my hand now. The camera's also this silvery color. Okay, come on. In this light, sardines also have a silvery sheen, so watch out. To be honest, I am a tad nervous. I really thought he was going to grab my hand, or the camera. Well, it's good to be a bit careful. Dietmar's speciality is tiger sharks, and he's trying to attract some now. And is that the best bait for tiger sharks? It's the best bait for all kinds of sharks. Very small tuna. As you know, tuna is a very oily fish, and Chris is cutting into them so that the oil comes out. Then, last of all, we put a whole dead fish on top of everything to stop the little fish from floating out, so the sharks can't feed on the bait. These agile predators shouldn't be fed, especially when you're going to swim among them. It might give them the wrong idea. The smell of the bait is only meant to attract them. A shark's sense of smell is about 10,000 times better than a human being's, allowing them to pinpoint the location of their prey from enormous distances. Actually, they don't need much attracting. As soon as the bait's in the water, there's a rapid increase in the number of sharks, a sight that requires some getting used to. I have to say it's a bit, well, I won't say scary, but it gives me butterflies in my tummy. There's an undeniable fascination about sharks, no doubt about it. There is more excitement yet to come, namely swimming among the sharks, but not with the black-tip sharks. We want to dive deeper to join the tiger sharks. Dietmar knows the right way to behave, even when they come really close. I'm really very excited. So never push them away from underneath, always from the top. always from the top, eye contact and never turn away. Now, you won't believe it, but you're the first person I've met who has pushed away a big tiger shark with his bare hands. And I found out today from you for the first time how to do it. There aren't many people who do it. And most of those who did or tried are no longer around to tell the tale. Off we go. Dietmar and Andreas dive down into the fantastic underwater world of the Indian Ocean. The smell of the bait mostly attracts blacktip sharks. It's a special occasion for Dietmar too. He's rarely seen so many of these 3-meter-long sharks at one time. Today, there's not a single tiger shark to be seen. But even so, swimming among these lords of the ocean is an unforgettable experience. A lot of sharks, just not the big ones today, right? Even so, they looked pretty big to me underwater. And there was physical contact. They came really close with their tail fins, sometimes brushing against your body and then immediately turning away. I found that very impressive, especially when you're under them looking up and the sky's practically full of sharks. That looks pretty spectacular. The journey continues, away from the coast and about 200 kilometers inland. The road runs along lush green meadows and fields. 180 million years old, the Drakensberg Mountains are volcanic in origin, and somehow the landscape reminds Andreas of home. If it wasn't for the odd cactus or palm tree, I'd be fairly sure I was in the Rhön or the Eifel. This landscape reminds me very much of where I grew up. Green hills, maize fields, the same kinds of trees. That's why so many Germans feel at home here. They settled here as farmers, raising black-pied cattle or dairy herds. This region is mainly inhabited by the Zulus, South Africa's largest ethnic group. The primary sources of income are livestock and sugarcane. After the scorching heat of the coast, the crew finds the pleasant temperatures a welcome relief. Deep in the enchanted mountains, far from the nearest major settlement, lies Little Antbear Farm. It looks so idyllic up on the hill, but is actually the result of a lot of hard labor. Ten years ago, there were just a few sheds standing here until Andrew and his wife Connie arrived from Cologne and created this mini paradise.
Hello, Andrew.
Hello, Andrew. Now, that's just the thing to be doing of a morning. Watch your wife riding.
Der Frau beim Reiten zuschauen.
Hello, Connie. Hello. You see, horses first. A beautiful horse. I hear you're a genuine Cologne girl, true? Yes, straight from Cologne. You've managed to realize a dream shared by millions of Europeans, let alone Germans. A farm in Africa. Yes, that's right. I enjoyed my life in Cologne, but I'd never have been able to do something like this. Horse riding maybe, but not in surroundings like this. When I look around me, many people dream of this, but can you make a living from a farm in Africa? Or do you have to bring the money with you and first build everything up before you start looking at how you can run a business breeding horses or opening a lodge?
Mit einer Lodge oder so weiter realisiert.
It's better if you have the money, but I'd say you've just got to have the courage to do it.
Ich würde sagen, man muss einfach die Mut haben, das zu machen.
Connie and Andrew breed horses. Cleo has nothing against these big four-legged animals, but somehow these are a bit strange. Andrew is a passionate pilot and takes to the air almost every day in his ultralight. It's the best way to explore the mountain ranges. The South African worked in Cologne for 12 years as a computer specialist and earned enough money to make his dream of freedom come true in Africa. Here, you don't need a control tower or permission to take off and land. The airspace is open. The highway shows the route to the next filling station. What do the truck drivers think? When fuel runs low, Andrew simply lands his plane in the meadow by the filling station. They know him here. He drops in every week. They even direct the traffic for him. And the filling station staff enjoy seeing their special customer. In Germany, it would be inconceivable for someone just to land his aircraft by the Autobahn, taxi to the petrol station and fill up. But here in South Africa, it's okay, yeah? This is a civilized country. There's a lot you're free to do here. A lot you're free to do, and basically it's no different from filling up your lawnmower. 1, 2 and off you go. It is a lawnmower. Exactly, a flying lawnmower. The Drakensberg Mountains are the highest in South Africa. The Zulus call them Ukalamba, the wall of standing spears, because of the numerous ravines, ridges and peaks. The summits of the Drakensberg Mountains are up to 3,500 meters high. The first inhabitants of this mountainous region were the San people. The beauty of the mountains apparently inspired them too. In many caves and under hidden rocky overhangs, their paintings have survived. Depictions of human beings and animals, hunting scenes, dance and ritual. Huge rock formations such as these have always exercised an attraction on human beings. This is where they created their own memorials, and now here we can learn how our ancestors lived. The paintings of the Bushmen tell of their life and history. There's a greater diversity of rock art here than in other parts of South Africa. Tandeka Mlaba of the National Park guides Andreas to a site featuring some extraordinary motifs.
That's your favorite?
It's my favorite paintings.
Figures with human bodies and animal heads, a leopard, dancing women and warriors.
What makes this place so special?
It seems as the Bushmen, they feel more spirit on this site.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of different paintings. My favorite painting on this site is just the painting of the snake.
So it's very rare to see. Oh yeah, that's here.
Yes.
I heard you can talk in different languages, and this click, Bushman or San, it's a language or it's a dialect, I'm not sure.
Okay, so it's a language of the Bushmen.
Okay. Can you teach me some of this very special sound? I mean, it sounds very, very nice for me.
Okay, the click.
The click.
C, your tongue touch your upper teeth as you taste something?
It's
Yeah,
simple.
you're coming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, simple.
Yeah.
But then, next one.
It's X on the side.
Yes.
Wow, you're coming again.
Okay.
The last one is a difficult one. Put the tongue on your palate. Sound as you open the champagne bottle.
Yeah. No, I cannot do this.
Sometimes the people on the past,
Yes.
they having the door in their houses. So to show them the respect, you use your mouth.
Ah, okay. It's a part also of respect. It's not
Yeah.
only communication.
Yeah, so that you won't pop in without noticing.
Ah, okay. But when the Sun people go hunting, I mean, they have to be quiet, of course, because they are bow hunter. They have to come very close.
Yeah.
So which language they use then?
Okay, they will copy the bird sounds like whoo, 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 whoo. It's the sound of the rest-chested cuckoo, the other type of bird. So when the other people see that voice, where it came from, for example, maybe they copy the sound of the baboon. So
Okay.
they realize, okay, after that they will use the sign languages.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm really good with this. For the owl,
Okay.
or to make a raven call means some praise around.
Yeah. It's the red starling.
Yeah.
It's a hen.
Yes, right.
You can make the cock.
No, I'm.
The Drakensberg Mountains, also called the roof of South Africa, are so high that they capture the rain clouds from the Indian Ocean. Deluges of rain pour down, producing a unique diversity of flora and fauna on the flanks of the 3,000-meter peaks. In the year 2000, UNESCO declared the Drakensberg Mountains a World Heritage Site. After the excursion into the hinterland, Andreas returns to the east coast. The next destination is a very special coastal area, typical of the tropics. The evergreen mangrove swamp lies some distance from the beaches in the Umlalazi estuary area, a unique ecosystem because both land and sea dwellers share the same habitat. This is a typical mangrove forest. Mangroves are the only trees that can grow in salt water. The only reason I can move around here now is because the tide is out. In 2 hours, all this will be underwater. Now, mangrove trees have just one major problem. Taking up salt water results in an increasing concentration of salt in their leaves, and somehow this must be got rid of. They do it by dropping their leaves, which contain so much salt that they turn yellow and die. It's like biting into a really salty pretzel. When the tide is in, the mangrove trees are literally up to their necks in seawater. It's a habitat of mud. Almost 70 different sorts of tree have adapted to these extreme conditions. They look like big pepperoni, but in fact they're mangrove sprouts. And the process is remarkably simple. The fruit falls from the tree, sticks in the mud, throws out roots, and a new mangrove tree begins to grow.
Und der neue Mangrovenbaum wächst.
Vervent monkeys roam the forest. Much that happens here is hidden from sight. Along with coral reefs and tropical rainforest, the ecological system of the mangrove swamp sustains the greatest variety of species in the world. Most animals here are pretty small, so you just have to be quiet, crouch down, and watch and wait. The fiddler crabs are looking for a mate. The males have a big claw which they wave invitingly at the females, all in the same rhythm. Although lots of leaves fall from the trees, there are none lying on the ground. Some, of course, are washed away by the tide, but what happens to the rest, I can show you here. Something has caught the interest of this cave dweller. The mangrove crab has sensed the impact of the fallen leaf and swiftly pulls its favorite food into its lair. The thickly tangled roots of the mangrove are sometimes above, sometimes underwater, not easy for those who live there. Some have adapted perfectly to the inhospitable environment, like this fish. It has learned how to breathe out of water and how to walk. This little chap in front of me here, with the pop eyes and just 5 centimeters long, is a mud skipper. Mud skippers are living fossils. You might say 200 million years ago, human beings looked rather like this. Using their bulldozer-shaped heads, mud skippers burrow through the mud in search of food. And when the tide is in, these remarkable creatures can even climb trees. I'd really like to catch a mud skipper so you could see it more closely, but they can move like greased lightning, even though they don't really have legs. Their chest and ventral fins serve as legs, and when they want to escape, they just give a quick push with the tail, take a flying leap, and they're gone, skipping over the mud, hence the name.
Deshalb heißen sie auch Schlammspringer.
I was that close. The mangrove swamps of Umlalazi are strictly protected, but that isn't always the case. In recent decades, about half of the world's mangrove forests have been cut down. In South Africa, there's been a radical rethink. It's high time that such unique natural habitats are conserved. From the Umlalazi Nature Reserve, Andreas travels further to the northeast, to St. Lucia. On South African roads, driving demands constant care and attention. St. Lucia is a village at the entrance to Isimangaliso Wetland Park. Originally founded by the Portuguese, it has a long history. Recently, nature conservation has taken many forms. Andreas struggles through the little market, which offers a range of local produce. Pineapples, mangoes, papayas, and above all, particularly large avocados.
How much the avocados?
25 Franc a bag like that.
Das ist sehr billig.
Yes, that's very cheap. That's €2.50 for a whole net of avocados. In Germany, I think you'd pay that much for just 1 or 2.
Oh. I take this.
These are my favorite banknotes with the rhinoceros. The one with the elephant isn't bad either. A 100 rand note has a lion, obvious really.
Das ist der Löwe, war ja klar.
The national park lies on South Africa's biggest lake, which is fed by numerous rivers and streams. The inhabitants are water lovers and spend most of their time bathing. Cleo can smell something. The pachyderms stay cool. Hey, it's all right. These are the first hippos Cleo's ever seen, and she's very excited. You see, Cleo's a hunting dog. At home in the Eifel, we often go out hunting wild boar, and hippopotamuses are closely related to pigs. The zoological term is non-ruminating, even-toed ungulates. So Cleo has the impression she's picking up the scent of water pigs. Come on, calm down. In the wet areas of St. Lucia, there are almost 1,500 hippos, the biggest population in South Africa. Mostly they live together in herds of 10 to 15 animals. Each group has its own distinct hierarchy. The leader is always a female, but only when she has a calf to care for. Then she has the say within the group. An interesting thing is that although they spend so much of their time in the water, they can't eat underwater. Hippos can close their ears and nostrils when they dive and can stay submerged for ages, but unlike other animals, they can't graze underwater. In order to eat, they have to come to the surface and graze from the water or go onto land. The animals in the national park are used to human beings, but it's still not advisable to get too close. This particular group is a bit nervous because there are several calves among them. Hippos only have single offspring. Another interesting thing is that when they surface, they always shake their ears and it looks like a pair of propellers. The reason is that although their ears are shut tight underwater, when they surface, they rotate them very fast to spin out the water. The herds are mainly composed of females and young animals. The males usually live alone. In territorial disputes, the males confront each other with wide-open mouths, displaying the huge canines. If the rival refuses to back off, fierce fighting can ensue, sometimes even ending in death. Come evening, and the pools are quiet and peaceful. The animals are preparing for their nocturnal walkabout on land. The coastline here looks the same for many kilometers. The sandy beach was sculpted by the wind over thousands of years. Only a few meters wide, it is bordered by green forest. What looks like a mountain is in fact one of the highest sand dunes in the world. Several hundred meters high and 200 kilometers long, this strip of sand stretches all the way to the Mozambique border. Over the past 250,000 years, forestation has completely covered this belt of sand. But behind it, you'll find a very different habitat and climate. But the special thing about this green belt is that every year another extraordinary event takes place here. They emerge when the moon is full and leave their tracks in the sand. Meter by meter, they haul their huge bodies up the beach. In the breeding season, between November and March, leatherback turtles coming to lay their eggs. For a marine animal that only lives in the sea and weighs more than half a ton, toiling up this dune is an enormous effort. When they reach their destination, the turtles immediately begin to excavate their nests. They do this by first scooping out a circle around themselves with their front flippers, and then digging deeper with their back flippers until they can no longer feel the ground beneath them. When they reach that point, they lay their eggs in the hole. Up here, the clutch of eggs can't be washed away by the tide. the leatherback turtle lays between 50 and 100 eggs in the hole and then carefully covers them with sand. Turtles only do this once in their lifetime, although they live to a ripe old age. In order to lay their eggs just this once, they return to the very same spot where they hatched out so many years ago. Despite all the effort, the mother turtle will never see her children. The eggs are left to their fate. The women of the Tembe Tonga tribe have taken inspiration from the turtles. In their full moon ritual, they present their newborn children to the moon and the stars. Andreas has discovered some grazing hippos. Hippos are mainly nocturnal animals. During the day in their pools, they're actually just resting. They're herbivores and also gourmet. At night, they prefer to leave the water and graze here on this grassland. Now, what I'm doing here is not very sensible. Hippos can become very aggressive if approached. In water, they feel secure, but on land, they don't. Most serious or even fatal accidents in Africa involve hippos. These hippos calmly carry on with their evening meal, but their numbers are growing. "30 meters in front of me is the bull, and the females are all to my right. I'm going to slowly pull back because the situation's getting confusing. I can't keep my eye on all the individual animals at once." The following morning, on this beach, there's supposed to be a cave where thousands of fruit bats live. Andreas sets off in search. And manages to upset a few beachcombers. The crabs are very fast and can defend themselves. Oh, they can really nip. That hurts, I can tell you. These little uns that look as if they've already been boiled are called ghost crabs. The beach is teeming with them. Even in the water, they can still look out with these protruding eyes. After this brief but painful encounter, Andreas reaches the fruit bat's cave. The entrance is only accessible at low tide. Incredible here. Bah. There's a frenzy of activity in the colony. There are two kinds of bat, or chiroptera. One sort feeds on insects or blood, like the South American vampire bat, and then there are the fruit eaters, usually fairly big, such as flying foxes and fruit bats like these here. The smell here is incredible, a bit like a rotting health food shop. It's the smell of fruit. And there's guano everywhere. I'd guess that in this cave alone there are 2,000 to 3,000 fruit bats hanging on the walls. And if you get any of this dung or urine in your eyes, then it's no joke. Apart from snakes, which also live in the caves, the fruit bat has few natural enemies. Though when they fly out in search of food in the morning or evening, they're also hunted by owls or hawks. I think I'm going back outside now. The stench and general conditions in here are just about unbearable, and my hands are covered in mites. That's going to be fun. Luckily, the cleansing waters of the Indian Ocean are close by. The whole crew has mites. Izimangalizo, meaning the miracle, is the name given to the park by the Zulus. An appropriate name given the diversity of this natural wildlife habitat, which extends over almost 10% of the South African coast, ranging from wetlands and swamp to sand dunes and savanna, comparable to the famous Okavango Delta. And over 1,000 crocodiles live here, more than in any other nature reserve in South Africa. Kolani Mpanza works to increase still further the number of these giant lizards. In the crocodile center near St. Lucia, Nile crocodiles are raised from the egg and then, when they're between 4 and 5 years old, released into the wild.
Come on, girls.
It's feeding time. The animals are still a bit hesitant, but the food wakes them up. In summer, the crocs are fed twice a week. In winter, only once.
They are a little aggressive to each other, no? So I have to be careful with my hand,
with
or
your hand,
Crocodiles can't actually chew their food into smaller bits, so as they grow up, they perfect the crocodile roll. This means they bite into their prey, do a quick roll which tears out a big piece of flesh and swallow it down. I think I'll just give them this chicken, and it's gone. The young crocs are hungry, and they can already do the crocodile roll.
Okay.
An interesting thing about crocodiles is that they can exert enormous pressure per square centimetre of bite area. But if you hold their jaws closed, there's not much they can do about it. In other words, massive biting power. But I could easily hold their jaws together with just one hand. I won't, though. In a short time, these animals will be released into the national park. They're old enough to hunt their own prey and to fend for themselves in the wild.
The incubator room,
that's where we incubate the eggs and
Some freshly laid eggs have just arrived.
I can hear the sound inside.
Yeah, they're ready to hatch. Here was we incubated 30. You will
30
see
eggs.
how much. Yeah, we had 30 that are incubated. We'll see how many.
I'm very curious.
Yeah.
It's like my birthday present. So, wow. Oh, one is. Oh, two. They are hatched. So they are pretty. They are out. Yeah. Oh, and another one. Yeah. I mean, they are chubby, no?
Yeah.
Big bellies and. He don't trust me.
Kalani says this is no problem. I can help because the baby is ready to hatch. So I just pick open the shell here, and now you can see what in birds we call the egg tooth. Crocodiles have one too, up here on the tip of the nose, and they use it to cut their way out. It's important because without it they'd never be able to crack the shell from the inside. Kalani's told me that when the baby's hatched, I can give him a name. I'll just call him Andy. Okay, Andy, welcome to the big wide world. Like all babies, he has an umbilical cord which has just torn off. He's extremely heavy. I'd guess between 70 and 100 grams, and all wet and sticky.
Schön klebrig, schön feucht.
The first thing they do is to bond with the mother, because for the first 3 months, little Nile crocodiles, like all the big crocs, are cared for and, of course, protected by the mother. Now, when I take hold of him here, he keeps absolutely still, because that's what his mother does when she carries him around.
He looks like a big guy. Look at his belly, I mean, huh? So he can live for a week without food, or longer, no? Yeah.
When the crocodile mother is looking after her newborns, she's amazingly adept at picking them up in her mouth with those razor-sharp teeth without doing them the slightest harm. The first thing she does is to carry the little ones to the water. And I'm taking this one to the disinfection bath because, unlike in the wild, he first has to be disinfected. Don't bite me. Ouch! They've already got a good strong bite. One after the other, the babies hatch out, all in good shape and well equipped to begin their crocodile life. It's been a fantastic day. Kulani and I have delivered 15 baby crocodiles. They'd probably have managed it without us, but now I feel a bit like a midwife, though only for Nile crocodiles.
Thank you very much. It was very nice. Kulani, I like to show you a crocodile handshake.
Okay, just
yeah? I need just your flat hand, like this.
Okay.
In 4 to 5 years, little Andy and his siblings could be living in the wetlands of the Easy Mangalizo National Park. For Andreas, it's time to move on. This journey through South Africa has been the most varied tour I've ever done. In the 5th part, I'm going for the classic, the Kruger National Park. There I'll be meeting up again with the Big Five, the rhinoceros, the elephant, the buffalo, the leopard and the lion.